Hi, welcome back to Wallflowers. So you'll probably notice here I'm having to do a voiceover because the microphone hasn't worked again. So I'll just continue now. So I've been sat here today dreaming about working in the garden and how I've missed being out in the garden so much. I absolutely love it. I love growing the vegetables, I love smelling the flowers, I love just the whole feel of the birds visiting and digging. I just loved the whole process of being out in the garden. So my friend Carol for Christmas bought me some seeds. Most wonderful gift anybody could have bought me. And I'm about to sow some of these seeds today. So I've taken 5 packets of seeds. Here we have oregano, some cauliflower, tomatoes, and I have herbs, cress, some more leeks, some more cauliflowers, and lots more tomatoes. And I'm so excited to get my hands in the dirt now and to begin because this really lifts my spirits. Although I love canning and although I love all the preservation work in the kitchen, my heart lies in the garden. I absolutely love it. So sowing the seeds here, I have an incubator set. So although I'm growing them inside, I will place the lid on. We live in a south facing garden house, and the window here behind me is a south facing window. So when the sun pops up in the morning, there will be some heat from it, and with the incubator lid on the top of the seed tray, it will preserve that little bit of heat and encourage these seedlings to grow. Excuse me. The date on these seeds to sow are between January and April. So, okay, let's get started. I'm not going to bother using the trowel here. I quite enjoy getting my hands in the dirt and I thoroughly enjoy it. So here we are. I'm pushing it down slightly but not compacting it because we want the soil to breathe, to encourage the seeds to germinate and then for the seedling to grow. So I've done 4 spaces there, and the tomato seeds that I'm growing here are, the onion seeds I'm growing here are a seed called Ailsa Craig, a basic white onion, but a really good, healthy, sturdy onion. And I'll enjoy using those in the kitchen. So I'm going to grow 4 sections of these, and I'm really just going to broadcast the seeds, cover them up, and when the seedlings germinate, I will prick them out and give them more space to grow. But this process I'm using, I will do it at fortnightly intervals. So in another 2 weeks, I shall do another seed sowing of them. And as they grow and get ready, I'll have several ready to plant out early spring. But when it comes to harvest time later in the year, all the onions won't be ready at the same time. I'll be able to take the first fortnightly seedlings sowing and they'll be harvested, and every 2 weeks I'll be able to harvest a fresh load of onions. So it works and it's something I'm looking forward to. So here you can see I'm just broadcasting the seed over the compost. I'm not overly doing it, I'm giving them some space, but I'm putting plenty in still at the same time. Then I shall cover with 1 centimetre to 1.5 centimetre worth of compost. Now, with them being inside, I'll check how moist they are and I'll water them when they're near enough drying. But once they're outside and being replanted, if it hasn't rained for 3 days, then I'll go out and water. But otherwise, I'll just leave the rain to water them. So that's basically the first seed sown of the year. How exciting is that? Absolutely amazing. So the onions are in, and what I'll do next is I'll take a lolly ice and I'll use that as a marker. So I'll just generically write onions because I'm only going to sow the Ailsa Craig this year, not different varieties. And then I'll put January 4, so I know exactly what date I sowed these seeds, and I'll know that they're the first lot of seeds sown this year. So that's the onions done. Now I'm going to make sure I fold this packet away so they're there for future use, and I can keep coming back to them, as I say, in the fortnightly intervals. Although it says January to April on these seeds, gardeners recommend that you have your onions seeds sown by before the end of February. So that's them. Just giving them enough time so you can get strong seedlings out by the time the good weather comes through. Now, in order to know when to plant the seedlings out, you really need to know your last frost dates. So where I live here in Lancashire, my last frost dates are the 4th of April, or the 4th week in April. So I know I have to wait until after the 4th week in April. So it's generally the 1st or 2nd week in May, because you don't want to go through all the trouble of sowing your seeds, growing them inside for a few months, put them outside, and then the last frost takes them away, and you've lost everything and you've got to start again. It's just a waste of not only the money to buy the seeds, but the energy and looking after them for months inside the house. So there is a good website called Garden Focus. It's free. Just key it into your search board on the internet, and if you put your hometown or county in there, it'll advise you what seeds to sow, when to sow them, how to care for them, and you can search for your last frost date for your area. So it'll tell you a zone number and exactly what weeks are the last frost dates for your area. So as you can see here, I'm actually sowing the leek seeds, and these leeks are a variety called Musselburgh, and they're a good strong long length white leek end. Now previously watching my videos, you'll know that when I come to eat the leeks, excuse me, I have a particularly dry throat today, I normally salvage the last 2 inches of the leek, the root end, and I'll replant it, and that leek will actually grow again and produce another leek for you, and you can do that over and over again and keep getting free leek from your leek root ends. But I like to use a lot of leeks. We make leek and potato soup quite often, and we use leek in quite a number of recipes. So yes, I'm sowing more leeks. And as I say, these are a really good variety. So again, I'm just going to put 1.5 centimetres approximately of the compost on top, lightly pat down, make sure all the seeds are covered, and that's the leeks done. And again, I'll do another fortnightly interval of the leeks and make sure I have a constant supply of them. Always fold the packet up and put away because you don't want to lose any seeds. Now, it doesn't matter if you have some left over from last year and you don't want to go out and purchase any seeds this year. Just use what you have remaining from last year. But if you're buying new this year and you're trying to do it on a really tight budget, places like Wilko, if you're in the UK, are a fabulous place to look for reduced price seeds. And there are other places to pay full price for one packet of seeds on a really tight budget can be a lot. And as you can see, the prices on these packets, they range from £1.75 to 50p, and they're really good quality for very low price considering how many seeds you get in the packets. So here I'm sowing a seed of tomatoes. I get so excited sowing the tomatoes. These are a variety called Moneymaker. So they're actually your average salad tomato, and they're a lovely variety, normally quite blemish free. They grow really well. My favourites are cherry tomatoes. I like to cook and bake with cherry tomatoes. And as you saw recently, I got an abundance of them that I made sun-dried tomatoes with. So my first priority is to plant these salad tomatoes that I will eat raw. I might actually can some of them. We'll see, depending on how many are successful, because of course everything depends on the weather. We have all the excitement, we have all the will in the world, we can look after them, everything can be great, and the weather might not play. It just depends how the weather is. But if we start off with hope in our heart, we do the work, we get everything prepped, hopefully everything will go right. So I'm broadcasting quite a few of the tomato seeds here, and I'm hoping they'll all come through. I have a side garden, and I tend to call it a tomato garden because that's where I grow most of the tomatoes together. I grow some in the back allotment side of the house, and I grow quite a few in the side garden. And Mr. Wallflowers likes to sit on a chair there and read a book and have a cold drink in the summer with his shorts on and his legs out. And if I can't find him anywhere in the house, I know he's in the tomato garden, sat reading a book or sat enjoying the sunshine. So we like plenty of tomatoes to fill that space. Here again, I'm actually writing Moneymaker on the tomato because I need to distinguish. It's not a Roma tomato, it's not a cherry tomato, it's actually a Moneymaker one, because I will grow several types of the tomatoes, so I'll distinguish on the label. I'm so glad Carol bought me these for Christmas. I really, really do appreciate them. Thank you so much, Carol. It's a wonderful Christmas gift to give someone who enjoys growing. It's fabulous. Now, the next one on my list is cauliflower. And I really like to do the cauliflowers. And a friend of mine taught me, once the flower actually appears, is to take a clothes peg and to peg the leaves closed around the cauliflower to protect the white part of the cauliflower. Keep it enclosed and only open it once it's grown sufficiently and you're not far from picking it, and therefore it keeps the white part in pristine condition. So I always take a peg as soon as the flower part starts to appear, close it reasonably tight, not so it chokes it, and then every week or couple of weeks I will loosen the peg on the leaves and give it more room to grow. As I say, that just protects the white of the cauliflower. There are tricks, there are tips, and we learn them as we go along. Sometimes the insects and the slugs don't play along. We have to look at netting. So if you're growing in a raised beds like I am, I actually use single divan beds. So I will recycle a single divan sleeping bed, the base of it, I'll remove the drawers, I'll turn it upside down, use the wooden carcass of the bed and fill it with soil, and then that becomes a raised bed. And I have 13 of those in my garden allotment, and I've quite happily been growing vegetables in those for approximately the last 4 years, and they're fabulous. Mr. Wallflowers has clad some of the outsides of them with some pallet wood, and I think they look great. I think they look amazing, quite rustic. We're really happy with them. They serve a purpose and they will still last us for several years to come. I've salvaged those beds from going into landfill, and they're always free and available on any of the free site pages. So if you're thinking for the first time you want raised beds this year, take a look at the free site pages, and if there are divan bed bases on there, why don't you do the same? Salvage it from landfill, get yourself a free raised bed, and grow as many vegetables in them as you possibly can. Okay, so I'm writing collie because this is just a generic all year round cauliflower that I've sown here. Now the last packet here I'm going to sow is oregano. Now in the UK we call it oregano, and I believe in America, Canada, etc. people call it oregano. It's exactly the same thing, exactly the same letters in the spelling, it's just pronunciation, and everybody loves it, whether you call it oregano or oregano. You know, I think herbs are absolutely wonderful. The flavours they give us for the food, the scents we have from them in the garden. What I find is if I don't use all of the herbs and I leave a section of them to flower, I think they look absolutely beautiful with the scents and the different herb flowers. It's what we call an English cottage garden, and I'm trying to build up the amount of herbs that I have grown in the garden purely for that effect, and the insects love them as well, and the birds. So I've got parsley already, I've got some curry plants, some lavender herb, I've got chives and garlic, etc. I do fresh basil every year. I've got rosemary, a few different ones, and oregano. It's the first year that I've done it, so slowly but surely I will build up my herb collection, because the scents and the flowers, I think it's just absolutely beautiful, and I just think it brings that little extra to a vegetable garden. I think it's lovely. Now, I shake the packet, and the reason I do that flick is the seeds within the packet will fall to the bottom. So rather than leave them at the top while I cut with scissors or open, I won't drop those seeds out on the floor or on my fingernails. I've given it a flick so it falls to the bottom. Now, as you can see here, most of the herb seeds are really quite fine. So I'm really going to broadcast these and get as many as possible seeds germinated here, so I can get the plants in the garden, because I'd say I don't have any of these already, so I'd like to do different sections around the garden and add a little something to my collection. So I have fennel, and I absolutely love the leaves on the fennel more than, I don't dig the crown up, I just grow it for the look of the leaves. You know, that's what I'm saying about the herbs. You can leave them to flower. Even if you leave a quarter of the plant and leave that to flower, it's the essence of being in the garden with the smells, with the flowers. It's just pure enjoyment. It's absolutely beautiful. So while I'm digging another vegetable up, or while I'm working in a different part of the garden, I can be looking and seeing this wilderness. I can be looking and smelling these scents, and it's just like being in another world. It's absolutely beautiful to me. Mary Ann's Narnia. So I'll just write the tag. So that's oregano, and it's January the 4th. Oh, this one actually has a label on the packet, so I don't need to write a label. Some of them are useful like that. Okay, so there we have the first seeds of the new year 2023 sown. Oh, it's a wonderful feeling. I'm really happy. My fingers have been tingling today because I'm 9 days late sowing seeds because we normally start sowing on Boxing Day. So I'm really happy to have something growing now. It used to be a tradition for us to start sowing on Boxing Day. And for some reason, we just decided to leave it a little bit later this year. Now, 9 days isn't that much longer, but it just gives us that bit of extra time now to make them, hopefully all of them survive. Sometimes you'll be a couple of months in and you completely forget they're on the window ledge. So I'm that excited now and want to get on with it. Hopefully everything is successful. Well, if we aim to have half of them successful, we shouldn't be too disappointed if we lose any. If all come through, it's an absolute bonus. So this small pot I'm taking now, I'm going to grow some lettuce in, and this is all year round lettuce. And what I do is I'll sow them in this small pot, and when they're ready, decent size, established seedlings, I will prick them out and put them in a much larger bowl. And in the side garden that I was just telling you about, that we call the tomato garden, we have a bistro table that we use as the summer table in the side garden to have drinks on. And in the centre, we have a large planter bowl, and the seedlings of the lettuce will be transplanted into there with rocket, sometimes a little bit of spinach, sometimes not. Italian seeds, whatever we can place in that pot becomes our salad bowl. And it's just easy access for me. I can just nip out the side door, cut a salad, bring it back in, and it's a lovely summer's day, spring's day, extra to the meal. We'll tend to have salads with every meal throughout the spring and summer. Something we really enjoy. So, yep, to get the first lettuce of the year going is absolutely fabulous. And it looks beautiful on the garden table as well, the fresh herbs, all the different colours. We put the Lollo Rosso lettuce in as well, so we have the different shades of green, the reds, different things all in amongst it, and it looks absolutely beautiful. And there we have it. You can't really see, oh, you can slightly see the seeds, the slightly lighter, and again, 1 centimetre to 1.5 centimetres of the soil on top. And that's enough. Just remembering to keep it watered and find the right places on the window ledges. So I can keep them now for the next, where are we? So we've got January, February, March, April. So we're just over 3.5 months now of where these will be growing on the inside. So I'm limited to how many I can grow. Sometimes I'll do a staging in one of the bedroom windows, and I'll do 2 or 3 layers of the seed plants so I can fit more in. But we'll see how it goes. Okay, I hope you're as excited as me, because I really am happy that I've got the seedlings started. Have you started any? Are you planning to do any in the next week or two? If so, try and get them done before the end of February, because you need them to be a good, decent, established size before you plant them out. And don't forget, please check when your last frost dates are. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you again soon.